And Bonnie.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday and we're in Kentucky.
Oh, well.
And we have an audience tonight, guys.
Yeah, you want to see him? We'll show you.
Hi, Mom. Send money.
Keep going all the way around. Wave at the camera. No, I gotta set it. We're back.
See,
Ta-da.
we do have people.
Yeah, we have an audience
Not a one of them will
tonight.
talk to us, but we have people.
Yeah, we have people. No matter what.
Well, the topic tonight's going to be old when she gets done bouncing.
There we
me
go.
around.
All done.
Old. Now, what in the world could this old buzzard talk about? Old.
I don't know.
I don't either. Let's get on to it.
Get on to the topic.
Okay. Old. The Messiah lived for 33 years. Now, even if you worship the made-up one, they still preach around 33 years. Now, to us, that's interesting. You can agree on his age, but not his name. It's all right to address him in any name you want, but don't you say Yeshua lived for 50 years. Why, that's not biblical. Well, neither is Iesus, in other words, Isus, the Greek, or Iesus, what it transferred down to by the year of 1632, nor is Jesus. They were never God's given name for his son, which he gave through Gabriel to a Hebrew woman named Miriam. We pause.
We pause.
I hope we didn't do that on the air.
Okay, no problem.
But hey, names are just names, right? Oh, yes, that's true. But we must believe he was 33 years old, not 50 years old. Get that age stuff straight. How old he was is more important than his actual name. They must say, don't let a real or false name get in your way. Pretend or real, true or false. What makes a difference? There's a huge difference. Now, when we're talking tonight, we're going to talk about a couple different things that you will find out in the end will pertain to old. Here's something we find kind of ironic. The brainwashed religious people, their denominations, their churches, and most of the worldly people listen to and even believe that the Messiah was born in Bethlehem. That the angel by the name of Gabriel came to Miriam, and that the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Spirit, came over her. Her husband-to-be was Joseph, but can't, and absolutely forbid to believe in the real Hebrew name of the most perfect individual to ever walk the earth. Have you ever thought about that? You can believe every name except his God-given one, Yeshua. You agree he was born where his parents took him to protect him, where they lived, the wise men, the shepherds, his town of residence, his preaching, his healing, his baptism, his walking on water. No problem with any of that. Why, that's fact as far as you're concerned. But you have a real problem with the Messiah not having an English or a Greek name. Are you thinking, or maybe the lie that all that other stuff is more important than calling the Messiah by his real name? If you do, go ahead. Call your Messiah any name you want, all the way to that huge road. We don't care if you call him Fred or any other name. Call him any name you want, all the way to hell. It's not that you might have a problem shoving Fred down people's throats. No, it's that you have been doing and listening to it, or any name, for so long it has become your truth. Not Adonai's truth, but yours. None of those other activities get you to paradise or to Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. Although believed, they won't get you 1 inch closer to the real Messiah either. Not 1 inch. But hey, if walking on water, raising Elazar or Lazarus from the dead, feeding thousands, healing a blind man who was born that way, if all those you want to believe in is yours, maybe you are more like Yohanan or John in 660 than most, if not all, the individuals who really want truth. Would you read John 6:60?
On hearing this, many of his Talmudim said, "This is a hard word. Who can bear to listen to it?"
It's too hard. It's too hard. We want all that easy stuff to believe, like the billions in the world now, and those billions and billions in the past. But it doesn't matter whose name or who you worship. It must be that stuff, that other stuff of the world, and that worldly brainwashing. Now that's important. Yohanan 6:61, please.
But Yeshua, aware of it that his Talmudim were grumbling about this, said to them, "This is a trap for you?"
This is a trap for you? Yeshua asked that question to the individuals who claim to be his followers, his Talmudim, his disciples. With all you've seen the Father do through his Son, now you have fallen for their trap. And you want to go back to the hell worshiping of the brainwashing. Interesting. They heard and saw truth, but like the easy road. See, Yeshua is the hard road. Not your worldly, brainwashing world. 62 through 64, please.
Suppose you were to see the Son of Man going back up to where he was before. It is the Spirit who gives life. The flesh is no help. The words I have spoken to you are spirit and life. Yet some among you do not trust.
When a real believer is found, then what Yeshua stated in 65 will be understood, that the Father is the reason anyone believes the truth and not the false, made up imitational Messiah. Read 65, please.
This, he said, is why I told you that no one can come to me unless the Father has made it possible for him.
The Father, would the Father, the one who sent Gabriel to give Miriam his name, call his son Fred? No, not Fred, or any made-up Greek or English name. See, none of those will do. Yochanan 6:66.
From this time on, many of his Talmudim turned back and no longer traveled around with him.
Are you who hear his true name like the pretend followers in verse 66? His Talmudim, his disciples, turned back and no longer traveled with Yeshua. The road got too hard, to actually believe truth. Should you be asked what he asked the 12 in 67, please?
So Yeshua said to the 12, "Don't you want to leave too?"
Don't you want to leave too? Truth be told, most, the majority, the billions and billions have already answered that question. They left, and the majority in this day and age have followed them to a false, made-up name, all the way in the end to their hell. How old? Let's ask, how young should you be? Not how old. We know the young can and are influenced more easily than the old people like us. Like me and most of my friends. You saw them. Here's a statement that you've heard, I bet you, on TV and around all the time. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. Now, what's that got to do with old? You'll find out. Society preaches that all the time. I guess we try to say, friends don't let friends go to hell without trying to take away their keys to that huge gate. They are walking towards the gate they are walking towards. People, friends will still drive drunk because they have been brainwashed to believe their own drunken philosophy about how much they can drink and still pull the wool over the policeman's eyes. Are the young and old trying to do the same thing with the Messiah? To pull the wool over Yeshua's eyes. That way, they, like the drunk, always have an excuse. Always. They're not drunk. They do believe. They can still drive their car. You can walk down that huge, large road to that huge gate. All by yourself. They're not hurting anyone. Just let them go home. They'll be careful. That's what every drunk says. I can walk down that easy road. What makes a difference to you? I'll make it home. Hey, I'm old, set in my ways. I believe what I believe. Just let me alone. Doesn't that sound like the drunk? I'll make it with my denominational philosophy. Mind your own business. Our church doctrine says I can go to call the Messiah, the name he was never ever called. And that's good enough. Just like the drunk. It's good enough for him. Is the drunkard's philosophy good enough for you? Is driving your car or walking with the billions, is that important to you? How about your loved ones, that grandchild, any child or adult who hangs on to your every word? Would or do you want them to find truth, or for them to get to that spot where the police or Yeshua stops them? If they get stopped, either way, our philosophy is they're in trouble. You might say the policeman isn't, you might say the problem isn't how young or old you or they are. You can pretend, but they live their life. And at times you will have to turn your son, grandson, grandchildren, daughter, husband, wife, brother, sister, even friend, over to them. They themselves are responsible for themselves. You and they may try to influence others in your direction, in their eternity, their life. Still, either one of them at the tavern or the church, worshiping the drink or worshiping a false name. Where's the difference? Next page. They both were brainwashed to believe a lie. The drunk thinks he won't hurt anyone, and he will even show the younger generation how good and fun it is to get a little tipsy. The churchgoer shows the younger generation it's good, even fun, to go down their easy road. See, billions and billions already see it your way. So it must be right. And how can billions of drunks, believers in a false name, be anything but right? They've got numbers. You will explain that to the cop or explain it to Yeshua. You're okay. You're in control. You're not drunk. You won't hurt anyone. And if you want a couple drinks, that's your business. Nobody even knows how many drinks you've had. Then it's your business, if you want to believe or not. Your business, no one else's. The Bible you use, the ones you lead, or the ones you have already led. The ones who look up to you and want to be just like you. Well, they have choices, just like you did. What kind of influence have you been? But the society look at the elderly as worn out, obsolete, aged. How about a single word that you can associate with being aged? Some maybe even get looked at as having no worth. You might say the person at times, the elderly may feel invalid. Being old to you then becomes of no value of society. When we are the older generation, do we ever think how we were when we were young? Full of strength, had all the power for reacting to any circumstance? What was your strength? What was your strength? But now, what does our gray hair stand for? Proverbs 20:29, please.
The pride of the young is their strength. The dignity of the old is gray hair.
That states so much about the pride. Remember when you walked around in pride? The pride of the young is their strength. The younger generation should have pride. And that pride of your youth was your strength. It also states the dignity of the old is gray hair. George over there combing him. Now, this caught our eye. Proverb 20:20, please.
Whoever curses his father or mother, his lamp will go out in total darkness.
Wow. I've never read that before. People, if you have the privilege of still having your father or mother with you, don't curse them. Show them respect, and according to verse 20, your lamp will be total darkness if you don't show them respect. In other words, respect the person who is old. He was where you are one day, and now he deserves that one word, respect. Not like the old drunk. Not like the false believer. No, we must look at truth. Most don't. Most want the easy lifestyle, that carefree future, you might say. They grasp that easy road Messiah and hold tight, knowing that whatever their preacher states is truth. Just like in the Sanhedrin. The Pharisees. Will you then become like Kepha or Peter in Johanan 18:25?
Meanwhile, Simon Peter was standing and warming himself. They said to him, "Aren't you also one of the Talmudim?" He denied it, saying, "No, I am not."
See, if you deny Yeshua, you're more like Kepha in verse 25 than like Kepha or Peter when he repents in verse 27.
So again, Peter denied it, and instantly a rooster crowed.
The rooster crowed. The rooster crowed. When will your rooster crow? Will you ever hear your rooster? Or will you be like the drunk and pay no attention to that noisy old rooster? Are you stuck with the billions who in all reality only want the new? They desire the old, but they must see Yeshua as just a name where the substitute, your substitute, is good enough. They want the new. They must proclaim the old has passed away. 2 Corinthians 5:17, please.
Therefore, if anyone is united with the Messiah, he is a new creation. The old has passed. Look, what has come is fresh and new.
There's only one who is fresh and new. And it isn't the made-up 390-year-old imitation. No imitation will do as far as we're concerned. Until you are united with the Messiah. The Messiah. For he is a new creation. Not the new name. We don't claim to know it all. We found the new creation with the old name. To change his name is like telling him he is too old for you. You need that new Messiah. Then and only then can you become the follower of any Messiah. It's okay. If you want, we don't care. Go ahead, call him Fred. Matthew 10:27, please.
What I tell you in the dark, speak in the light. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim on the housetops.
What he told us in our dark. I like her.
Thanks.
What he told us in our dark, we try to speak in the light. Yet very few really even want to listen. But like that drunk, we can't make him really realize how dangerous it is to drive that way. No more than trying to get brainwashed individuals to see the light. He has worshiped, he has whispered in our ear what we proclaim to everyone who will listen. But the housetop seems to just reach the yard. Not the society of unbelievers we hope for, but like the policeman who keeps stopping that drunk. He nor us can do nothing for the drunk or the false believer to see until, for a lot of you, it will be too late. You, at times, may feel old, too feeble, out of touch, lonely, lazy, or may have billions pulling at you and you feel like the drunk. It's your business. Just leave you alone. If you don't find truth, you won't be lonely. No, you will be with billions. Young, middle-aged, and old. Believe his age and not following his name will not help you one bit. People, how old do you need to be to realize truth? How old? There isn't an age limit. That's it.
That's it. Do you have a topic for next week?
Had nothing to do with what people thought it was going to be. You understand
You
that.
have a topic for next week?
Well, we've got a couple of them. The one I might want to talk about next week is the most dangerous word in history. I might talk about that. It took me a week to write that one. And never know what he's going to have us talk about. That might be the one. It might be one of the other ones.
Who knows?
But people, respect the elderly. Look at the old people with respect. That's about it.
Have a good week, guys. Please like it and share it if you would. And join us on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
We'll be in Virginia then.
Next Tuesday?
Yep. We're getting out of Kentucky.
Nah.
Love you, people.
Have an awesome week, guys.
And think about what's been said.
We'll
God
see
bless.
you next week.